Okay, and welcome back to another one of our reading videos about determining importance. Now, last time we talked about how do you identify the important bits of information within a text. And I saw this way. I saw this poster the other day, and a lot of people I've seen have used this pasta analogy to understand the important parts of a text. So if you have got to go this way, I'm forgetting. If you've got a pot full of pasta and there's water and there's all the pasta in there, that's the text with all the stuff in there, and your brain is like the strainer. And when you go to tip all the pasta out when you're finished, all the not important information goes to the sides and just drains out, and you're only stuck with what the important information is. It's really, really important. Well, it's important. It's really, really important that you understand which parts of the text are important. Because if you hold on to a random fact about what year they were born, or where they were born, or things that don't actually matter or make this text interesting, then you're not really understanding the importance of why I would even set you that work. So we're going to go through the life of one of the convicts, and I'm going to use a texter, and we're going to go through and I'm going to think about every sentence and go, is that just generic information, which is still useful, but not necessarily anything that I need to take away from this? Because when we did the last activity, and I got you to read through a whole bunch of different things about, I think it might have been about the recreational games that convicts played. A lot of you were picking up on some really strange sort of facts that didn't necessarily overall weren't the important things to remember. Bear with me a sec because I'm trying a different way of videoing at the moment. So bear with me while I try and see if I can do this. Okay. Okay. Looks like it's lagging a little bit, but I'm hoping it'll be okay. Okay, so I'm going to read through, just like my click and clunk strategy, where when I read through every sentence, I stop and I think about whether I understood it. I'm also going to think about when I understood it. Is there anything in that sentence that is important that when I'm draining through, I need to make sure I keep in that net? Okay, let's go through. So, O'Reilly was part of a secret. Sorry, it looks like it's lagging. O'Reilly was part of a secret society. Sorry, before we start, we should go through his name. John Boyle O'Reilly, 1844 to 1890, on treason. Wow, treason. Actually, you know what? I'll highlight that because I reckon that's going to be important. All right, if my text is a few seconds behind, I do apologize. This is just something I'm trying out. O'Reilly was part of a secret society called the Irish Republican Brotherhood. Okay, he was part of a secret society. That secret society part might come in handy later, so we'll see how we go. They wanted to stop British rule in Ireland. That's true. The British did rule in Ireland. They did, and Ireland did want their independence. That might be important. We might come back to it now. O'Reilly had been a newspaper reporter before joining the army. Once again, interesting, but not the most important part of the text to think about. However, in 1866, he was arrested for betraying his country and sentenced to death. There's something definitely important there. He was arrested for betraying his country and sentenced to death. Very, very important point, and we want to make sure we remember that part. O'Reilly's sentence was then changed because he was only 22 years old. Once again, interesting, but not necessarily the most important part. Like if someone asked me what was this about, you're like, oh, did you know that he didn't get sentenced to death because he was only 22? Not going to be the important part that I have to remember. So, in 1867, he was transported to Western Australia on the Hougoumont, the last convict ship. Okay, let's think about that sentence and think what part is different to a normal convict. Ready? In 1867, he was transported to Western Australia on the Hougoumont. Okay, that's not that interesting. The last convict ship. Ding, ding, ding. There's things that are going through my head going, that was the last convict ship ever? That's got to be something important that I'm going to have to remember. And when you think about it, look at when it was, 1867. That's a long time after they initially started sending people over on transportation. Not long after he arrived, O'Reilly began planning his escape from Australia. I feel like that's going to be important. O'Reilly began planning his escape. He was successful, although he was nearly caught a few times. With the help of some people, O'Reilly got onto an American whaling ship. Wow, yeah, okay. That part. He got onto a whaling ship. Forced to change ships a few times to avoid recapture, he arrived in the United States. O'Reilly became known by many people in the United States, England, and Australia. He became well known for speaking out for the Irish and as a humanitarian poet and author. Okay, I'm just going to write there, he arrived in the United States. Now, the next thing would be, the most important thing is that, when they say when you read something, you do retain some of it. When you hear something, you retain more of it. When you watch it, you can retain even more information. But the most important way that you make sure you remember and you understand what happened is to tell it to someone else. So I know that your parents or your brother or sister might not necessarily like this as a strategy, but I'm going to suggest now, when I give you one of these convicts to look through, that you get a texter out, or even if you have to highlight it in Google Slides, and you just highlight the parts of it that are different from a normal convict case. What parts of it are important? If someone asked me now what was, I said, well, my guy, John Boyd, he worked in a newspaper. He got let off in 22. They said he was too young to die. He came to Western Australia, and a lot of people knew who he was. All those things don't really separate him from someone else. The point would be, the audience would be having to think, why did the author write about him? There was tens of thousands of comics. Why him? That's what you have to think about. So when I give you yours, I want you to think, why is this person different? Okay, so the things I've highlighted now is secret society. He betrayed his country and was sentenced to death. He was on the last convict ship here. He planned his escape pretty much straight away, and he did escape on an American whaling ship, and he arrived in the United States, and lots of people knew him. That's really all you need to tell me about this man, that the important information. We're going to sift through that water, sift through those things that aren't necessarily that important, that are just facts that are good to have, but aren't the most important information, and find the parts of why this text was written and which parts are worth holding on to. All right, I hope that's been helpful. We're going to go through a few more of these, but really it's really important that you take more of an active role when you're thinking about it. Click, those click and clunk strategies. Not only that, but going, do I need to hold on to that information? Because you might click and go, yep, okay, good, he worked as a newspaper, whatever, okay, yep. But you read something and you go, stop. Not only is that a click, but I need to remember that, okay? It's really important. Okay, I hope this has been helpful. Thanks for watching.